Welcome to Easy to Read Deep Thoughts. This is going to be an awesome episode. Today, we are talking about digital visibility with my special guest, Craig Darling. Craig and I, we know each other from the coolest networking group on planet Earth, Alliances. Uh, awesome. Okay, my name is Jonathan Geyer. I helped, my first noteworthy note is I helped implement a health information exchange for the state of Minnesota. And in that opportunity, I was able to speak to 30 some odd thousand veterans. And that's kind of the origin of this show. Second noteworthy note is I coach a boxing class and we crossed 1 million views a couple of weeks ago. And that's going to tie into searchability because, yeah, I was making it up as I went. So I have enough context to understand what Craig does, but not really. I don't know how it works. I know I have a hint of the why, but the how, totally clueless. Awesome. My special guest, Craig Darling. Could you introduce yourself?
Well, good morning, Jonathan. Yeah, and we are both members of Alliances. It's where entrepreneurs align. And guess what? This is a sample of that alignment right here. Okay, working together to help your audience because visibility, digital visibility, is really important. If you're not visible digitally, you're invisible, right? I mean, think about it. If you're on the second page of search, no one knows you. So what I focus on is making sure my entrepreneurs, my solopreneurs, my small business owners, my local business owners, I make sure that they're visible in the first position of Google by optimizing their Google business profile. Every small business is entitled to a free Google business profile, but you need to optimize it. You need to feed Google in order to be visible in that position. And that's what I do. It's way less expensive than SEO, and it really happens to work very well, especially as Google and Bing and Apple, they're all turning to AI models for search results. So you have to feed Google what they want in order to be the first return on search results. So that's actually what we do.
You know, normally I ask my guests to pick our deep topic, and then I optimize whatever I say, whatever I write to kind of build up that guest. This situation, Craig and I were talking before I hit the live button, and I genuinely don't know. Like, I know enough. I started a business profile, before I moved remote with my company. So I have a general idea, but I don't really know. So this is a sincere conversation. Like what Craig does, him and I met when we met one-on-one when I first joined Alliances, and I heard the presentation, right? So I've had a couple of years to percolate on that in my mind. I still really don't know. This is super interesting. Deep thought. When I was picking this title, digital visibility, what happens if you don't do this? And I'm picturing this kind of like the baseline. Like what if a company does awesome, gets, a local company does locally awesome. How does that, as the world, I'm trying to express this, but as the world moves more and more online, which it is, yeah, there's a weird purgatory there between being awesome locally and being invisible everywhere else.
There are a number of things that come into play, and some of it has changed since you and I had that last presentation. Ooh. So now we utilize AI quite a bit, and what we use AI for, this is some fabulous stuff. First thing we do is we monitor competitors now. One of the things that I do, my company does, is we don't take more than one client in a specific market area. Okay, so I don't take a lawyer that does accident and injury and then do a lawyer that does accident and injury across the street. It's got to be outside of his market area, right? I'm not going to compete against myself. But when we do establish a client, we look for their top 4 or 5 competitors, and we set the AI up to do a number of things. Number one, we look at each of those profiles at least 1,000 times a week.
Oh my God.
Yep. And if the profile does anything, that AI reports back to me, and it helps me trigger a response on our client's Google profile. So the person that actually does the most work on their profile is the number one profile in search. So what we do is we make sure that every time one of our competitors does something, we do something else in order to keep us most relevant in Google. So you asked about the businesses. The idea is relevancy. Are you relevant for what somebody's searching for? And we work on that relevancy in order to make the Google profile shine. And when we have a Google profile that's completely optimized, right? It goes all the way from the header to the footer on the first page of search. Yeah, there's lots of ads down on the column, okay? Or if you're on a phone, there might be 2 ads before the Google profile, but the Google profile on the phone takes 3 swipes of the thumb to get to the bottom of it. And between those 3 swipes of the thumb, there's at least 12 opportunities for somebody to engage with you. Whether they see your products, they see your services, they see your booking link, they see your content, they see your calls to action, they see your specials. All of this is incorporated into a Google business profile that's fully and properly optimized.
Elaborate on that that I don't know. I'm stuck on the word baselining, but you're analyzing the top competitor, right? Because I'm picturing it like a Cold War. Like
Yeah.
there's always going to be a fight for the first place, right? Like
Yeah.
it's dynamic. It's never stagnant.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's not a perfect thing. Like I can't say that you're going to be 100% the first search result. Okay, it's all about relevance. It's all about how somebody searched. So I'll give you an example. If somebody searches for you for your product or service, but they don't engage with your product or your service, okay, Google says, well, that might not be a good search result, okay, for that type of person. But if somebody engages with it, when they click to make a phone call, or they click to go to your website, or even if you have a product that you sell, they click to instantly buy your product. They can buy your product right there on a Google profile if you so set it up, right? So if they do any of those things or go to your website, for example, Google says, oh, that's a good search result. And Google will serve it up to that particular type of demographic every single time they're on.
Oh my gosh, I'm a visual thinker and I'm picturing that like a self-tightening screw, right? Like it's optimized, it's tightening up its algorithm based on to confirm
Right.
my understanding. Yeah.
So some of our clients, we see that they're less times the number one search result, but they get way more phone calls, or they get way more web clicks, or if they're a local business, they get way more door swings, right? Oh. And so that's really cool because it's just tightening up, and so when that phone rings, to give you an example, when the phone rings on the first day we're working for you, yeah, okay, whatever. But on the third month we've been working for you, that phone rings and you answer it, that is a hot lead every single time. Okay, Google's algorithm figures it out, and we allow them to do that
because they've already had hot lead, as in they already understand what they're calling about. They already understand the product. They have that familiarity.
Correct. They search for your service or your product, and Google said this is the best place to go. And if you understand it, this is like crazy. Google, okay, or excuse me, people, okay, 70% of the people that find a local business online and engage with it do business with them within 96 hours.
Huh?
Okay.
This show is Deep Thoughts, and I this is something I'm personally curious about, or I'm interested to hear your thoughts. So people skew towards easy, right? And that's the advantage of being on the elaborate. What's your thoughts on that? Because now we're talking like a human nature thing. The algorithm is the machine, but like why the machine exists in the first place is people take the easy path. Like yeah, I'm not sure where I'm going with that, but that's like that's the essence of your business, because people take the easy path, making it the easiest path for them. That's where the value is at, right?
So one of the things that we do on a Google profile is we take a serious analysis of the website, right? So if you have a website, if you have a well done website, it's going to work better than if you have a crappy website. That's the same, right? But not an optimized website, but just a website that tells your story, right? That's really important. Okay. And there's people making a lot of money in the story brand and helping you get stuff like that. You know, like our partner Scott Robertson, he tells a story. I'm not a marketing guy. Okay. I'm a visibility guy. Right. So what we do on a Google profile is we read the website and then we write regularly FAQs on the Google profile. Most businesses, 98.9% of the businesses out there, don't write FAQs on their profile. FAQs are important. Why? Because when somebody's searching, they have a question, right? I want a new contemporary kitchen. I need somebody to give me an estimate on a roof. I need a lawyer because I got in a car accident, or I need a new car, or I need parts for my used car, or whatever it is, right? So when you have the FAQs there, when somebody searches, then they can see the FAQs immediately, and there's their question right there. So they're instantly engaged with the profile. A Google profile, when it's properly optimized, yeah, you should have a website, okay? Because people want to click to it. Maybe your website converts. Most websites don't, okay? But people can engage with your Google business profile, and they can do business with you right there. If you're a consultant, they can book, their first appointment with you. If you sell rings or jewelry, they could perhaps buy something from you right there on your Google profile, right? It just like you said, it makes things easy. It's easy for the business, and it's easy for the customer. Okay? And the most valuable piece of real estate on the internet, on search, if you will, is a Google business profile, because it runs from the header to the footer on the first page of search. And incidentally, Bing and Google and all of the other search engines, they tend to take from Google, so everything bleeds over. So we're actually optimizing for Bing and Apple Maps, Alexa, Siri, Google Voice. All of this is included in what we do with the Google Business Profile. And we're actually the number one company in the world at doing what we do.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's super. You're touching on something. I'm going to tie this back into my personal experience. So we started our boxing channel on YouTube, right? And when I did that was, I did it just because, like, it wasn't really well thought out. We just kind of jumped in and saw what happened. But YouTube, I believe, similar to what you're describing with the Google's business profile, YouTube populates to all the other sites. So our searchability on YouTube is beneficial on all these other sites I'd never considered.
Correct.
Yeah. Being on top on this main platform has been beneficial for all these other platforms that never came into my mind when we started this.
It's absolutely all linked together. So in 2014, Google launched the Pigeon algorithm update. And when I was reading the white paper on it, I was trying to understand why Google was gathering and indexing social media signals, right? And they were gathering and indexing social media signals in a certain way. So let me give you an example that anyone can understand, because it's happened to them. If you do a search for something and you see such and such and so is on Facebook, right? And you click the little the tab that says such and such, and sometimes it goes right to the content, right?
Yep.
And sometimes it says you have to log in to enjoy the content, right? So that's two different types of indexing. One is indexing by Facebook because they're optimizing themselves, right? Why wouldn't they? And the other is because that they have a Google business profile and their content is connected. And what I'm sharing with you is that if you have a Google business profile and your Facebook and your Instagram and your LinkedIn and your WhatsApp and your YouTube and all of your social media channels, your TikTok, whatever, if that's connected to your Google business profile, everything that you put out on those platforms is now indexed to search, right? It's not just on TikTok. It's not just on Facebook. It's actually now on Google. And new AI overview last week was 52% of the searches was AI overview. Okay. AI overview only pulls what's in Google's indexing for a search result. Okay. So what this is doing, what we're seeing is happening is that everything that comes out in a search result needs to be in Google's hierarchy. So it's even more important that people have their Google profile and have their content indexed via attaching it to your Google profile. And it's really simple. It takes about 2 seconds to attach your Facebook or whatever, any social media program. It only takes you a couple seconds to attach it to your Google profile. So it's really something that everyone should do. And if you haven't done it, make it a priority and do it today.
Elaborate on what happens if you don't do it, right? Because from your perspective, you know stuff the vast majority of the population doesn't, right?
Right. So yeah, like 94% of the people don't. So it gives you space all by yourself for starters. Okay. It's easy to be a big fish in a small pond. Does that make sense? Right. So basically just do it. But if you don't do it, I mean that's fine. Your content will still be indexed on TikTok. Okay. Your content will still be indexed on Facebook, right? Or YouTube. And that's all good. YouTube's a little bit different because YouTube is the third largest search engine, and it is Google, right? Or the second largest search engine, rather. Google Images is actually the third largest search engine. And when we have a Google Business Profile, this is really cool. We add metadata and geolocation data to the images so that it syncs in with Google Images as well. So it's just a big cross-platform deal that if you have a solid Google profile, okay, you're going to be the number one search result. And if you know what the search volume is for your particular keywords, okay, those can be applied to your Google profile, and suddenly you're the number one search result on a regular basis. Okay, so just to give you an example, and it carries on with time. But last year, our number one client had 3.5 million clicks on their Google Business Profile, 14,000 phone calls.
That's an issue amount of phone calls.
Actually, it really was because they had to hire extra staff to man the phones. Right, so I mean, that's not going to happen to everybody. That just happens to be in their particular industry. They actually became the number one automobile dealer in Colorado as a result of this. So so now currently we actually manage all of the Google profiles for all of their dealerships as a chain.
Nice.
Right. So.
Yeah. You know, so when you and I talked about business profiles, and 100% that was the first conversation I had with anybody about Google business profiles. After that, I tried setting one up for my remote business and learned that you can't do that.
You can.
What? I couldn't figure it out without putting like my home address on there, and
Sure.
then I didn't want to do that.
That's what you do, and then you make it anonymous.
Ooh, oh, go into that because that was an issue. Like I didn't do it because I was worried about it.
So there you have to get verified. All right. So you have to have an address. You cannot use a post office box or a mail shop. Right. You can't do that. But I think I have like 5 or 6 Google business profiles registered to my address.
Oh, what?
Right? Yeah. So one of them is just a lead gen profile. That's all I use it for is lead gen. But at any rate, yeah, you can do that. Now the way that you do that is you put your home address in, but then you anonymize it. You'd say people don't come here for business, right? And it's completely legit, even for an online store like Etsy or Shopify or whatever. If you're a Shopify dealer, you can still have a Google profile as long as you're going out to do networking events, right? You're leaving the building, right? That's really what counts. Are you leaving the building? So you make your home address the business profile anchor, and then you take whatever your logo is. Okay, yeah, you have a logo. I'm sure you do, right? Business
Yep,
name
yep,
or
yep.
whatever. You take your logo and your business name, and you have a big sign made out of it, and poster board. What's it going to cost you? $12, $15, right? And then you secure that to your front door.
Ah,
Only for making the video, right? Well, as soon as the video is made, you take it down.
that validation video, yeah, that's where I stopped. Like I didn't want
Yeah.
to record the house and send it to Google.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what you do. And so that video doesn't go anywhere. Doesn't. It's not in the hierarchy. As soon as they verify it, the video is deleted. Okay, you can't even save the video to your phone. Okay, so you just make the video, you send it in for verification. You do have to have other things. Well, I'll give you a run through real quick. Here's how you do the video.
Awesome. Yep.
Okay, so you start. You go to the Google profile, says get verified, and you push the button and you follow the prompts, and then there's a little button that says go to video. Be standing by the street corner sign. Okay, the nearest sign, even if it's a mile away, you got to stand by the sign.
Yeah, I think it said that in the instructions too. Yeah.
Right. So you video the street sign. Okay, and then you walk or you drive to your house and video the address number on the building or on the mailbox, either one. Right. And then you have this sign that we made up on the front door. Okay. You go through the front door, pointing the camera at the floor. Okay. Until you get to your home office. Right. In your home office, you have to have three things. You have to have your tax ID number laid out on the desk. You have to have whatever certifications or business or tax or license that you have. Okay. Or your LLC paperwork or whatever, your C Corp
Incorporation.
paperwork. Yeah, whatever paperwork you have that says you established a real business, have that and your tax ID laying on the desk. When you come in, you take 10 seconds to focus on the tax ID, 10 seconds to focus on the LLC or corporation paperwork, and then you turn and you focus on your website is on your computer monitor, right? Just for a few moments, and then you submit the video. It's that easy.
And really, on a high level, it's just validating that it's real, right? Like there's nothing fancy about it. It's just not AI.
That's correct. And then I'm sure you have friends that you asked to come to visit. It looks like you're out in the country, right? If you have somebody coming out to visit, hey, listen, go to my Google profile and follow the map out here.
Oh, God, the way you said that by itself is such a big deal.
Right? What it does, it tells Google that you're a relevant business and people are doing business with you, even if they're coming out to have a barbecue.
I like where this is going, and I bet you a large percentage of my white collar audience works remotely or has remote businesses. And I'm selfishly skewed to my own experiences. Elaborate on the value of an at-home. Well, basically just build up the conversation we're on right now, or the vein that we're on right now. But like the value of having a Google business profile when you're working out of your house, or, on the other side, the disadvantages of not having that searchability when you're in your house and nobody would ever know it. Or,
the deal is I have a commercial real estate broker in Nevada. Okay. And, he's, for a long time, he wasn't visible online. And he had a home business, which is fine, right? But everything was by referrals, okay? Everything, which is fine. I mean, I sold for years, and referrals were all my number one. Referrals are still my number one, okay? They just are, because I network and I go out and I talk to people and I do things like this, right? So I consider anything that might come from this as a referral from you, right?
Let's build on. I'm going to add your contact info to every promotional in the comments here going forward.
Okay. All right. So, but at any rate, so we put together his Google business profile, and in 3 months, he was getting 4 or 5 calls a week All right. And out of those 4 or 5 calls a week, he was making 1 or 2 deals, and the guy makes a couple $1,000s a deal. Right.
Because they were war or hot leads, as you referred to it, right?
Right. And by the way, he doesn't actually sell the property. He leases, he brokers it. Right. So if you lease a 150,000 square foot warehouse, he makes $5,000. Right. And it's not recurring income. So he has to have a source of leads coming in all the time. But you can do this if you want to generate recurring income. That is so easy. So let's say that you have a product that's like $29.95 or $20, right? Follow me for $20 a month because I'm Jonathan Geyer, for example. You can have that button on your Google profile where somebody clicks it and sets up their subscription, and suddenly you have that $20 a month in recurring income. Okay. All you got to do is do that, 10,000 times, and that's $500,000 a year. Right? That's
I'm a visual. Oh my God. I'm a visual thinker, and this visual metaphor popped into my mind just recently, but farming, like planting crops, doing whatever you got to do. And then once they start growing, I'm picturing SEO personally. Previous to this conversation, I was picturing SEO like farming. Like I got to plant the crops, and there's a growth process. And then once it starts, it's just continuous. Or I'm not trying to say.
We had years ago. I wrote an essay and I posted it, and it's been shared. I don't know, 15 million times or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of stupid. It's kind of funny. It's about driving in Phoenix, and I've seen a half a dozen people or more, copy it and then paste it like it's their own work. And I don't really care. It's not like.
Awesome.
Whatever.
Flattery, isn't that?
Yeah, imitation is the best form of flattery, right? But at any rate, it started off just on my feed, sharing it with my friends. Got 100 likes, and then somebody shared it, and it went from there. We had another time. I had a video for a motorcycle conversion company that I was doing work for. And I posted a video to YouTube, and it really didn't get any looks. I think it got like 800 looks or something like that, which was fine for that guy. All right. He only needs 1 customer a month, right, to build a $60,000 conversion, right? Maybe he needs 2 customers a month because he's got a mechanic. But you get what I'm saying, right?
Yep.
And anyway, company like West Coast Choppers, right? Or
I used to watch that show.
Or whatever, yeah. Right? Whoever it was, right? They shared it, and it went from 800 views to 1.5 million overnight. Right? So you never know what's going to happen, what's going to change it. So the idea, all of us should be thinking about recurring income in some fashion in our business, right? Hey, if Netflix and Disney Plus and all them are getting in the action, right? Why shouldn't we?
Oh, and then that ties back to the essence of why they should build a Google business profile, right? Because it's
yeah, they should. Everyone, even if you're just branding your own name, you should have a Google business profile. All right, you really truly should have a Google business profile, even if it's your own name. So let's say that you're selling cars. Great, Google profile. What if you change to sell real estate? Great, same Google profile. Right? How do you carry if you're a salesperson? Okay, how do you carry a following for your entire career?
Ooh, right? Good point.
So you generate a Google business profile, and you push content to that Google profile on a regular basis. Okay, and no matter where you go or what you do, that Google profile sticks with you. Right. So all of your followers are still following you, and you're getting new people all the time. Because why? Because you're delivering content and Google is rewarding you. It's really that simple. And it doesn't cost any money to have a Google profile. It does cost money to have me manage your Google profile, right? And I'll tell you, if somebody calls me from this recording, okay, we're going to give them the alliances deal, okay? Or what's that? Full management, including citation, optimization, voice optimization, Bing, Excite, you name it, 150 directories, and all the content delivered on a regular basis, the FAQs, managing your reputation through Google Review Management. They'll even get the free review engine cards, okay, which are an easiest way ever to collect 4 and 5-star reviews. You ask a happy customer for a review, they say, yeah, I'll get you one when I look it up. You go, oh, no, where's your phone? And you tap their phone with this, and it pulls up your review platform, okay? Easiest way in the world. Takes 30 seconds to get a 5-star review. All of that for $3,600 for 1 year.
Awesome. Oh my, we're at time here. A thought popped into my mind. I remember back when, gosh, it was like 2 years ago that, maybe even 3 years ago that I first saw your presentation, and inside info. I believe, it was super casual, right? So going by memory, you showed me, well, where I'm going with this is the upkeep of the business profile. During that demo, you pulled up some other customers that you had, and I watched you. You showed me some of the stuff that you did. You updated some of these profiles as we were talking, and I've thought about that for a couple of years since. That goes back to the Cold War kind of thing, where it's constantly changing. Like, you can't do it once and it's forever good. Like, I remember thinking that maintenance, like, oh my gosh, how much would it cost me mentally to try to stay on top of these constantly changing variables, and then take that first, distill that knowledge into something actionable, and then stay on top of it. I pictured it like chores, like just exhausting to think about.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, the average guy might get his Google profile suspended because he breaks the rules a little bit, or at least have reauthorized. There's a lot of things that happen there. We just help our clients. And even so, I mean, somebody is more than welcome to reach out to me if they just have questions, because it's not everybody can pay me, but everybody needs to have a Google profile.
Yes, sir.
Right. So that's my take. Anyway.
Oh my God, that was a good one. That was probably a perfect ending, but I'm going to ask you to up it up it one notch. We're at the end of time here. One takeaway you'd like our audience to have, distill the essence of this conversation. What would you like our audience thinking of after we end this here?
Excuse me. Google tools are the least expensive, most effective way to be found on the internet today. And if you're not visible digitally, you're invisible. And I want to thank Jonathan for having me here. It's a pleasure to know you. And I hope that we've given your followers some solid information.
I think we did. This was a cool conversation, Craig. Super awesome. Thank you to everybody watching. What a cool conversation. Join us again for the next one. Thank you all.